It having reached the hour of 5:31 p.m., I am calling the December 3rd, 2024 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Ricky.
Here.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Bill Canoyer with Redeemer Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for your safety. You've brought us all here. Thank you for this season of laughter and time with family and our ability to enjoy that in a city that is safe. Thank you for all that have given their time and their energies in this city council, and I pray for them that you'd give them wisdom and guidance and strength in their families, as well as the things to do with our city. Show us the way and fill us with courage to move forward with wisdom that we need for a safer and a stronger city. Help us to remember that your love and your grace is faithful to us. And so we pray for understanding and patience with one another as we hear from one another. And we pray it in your good name. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. Just a reminder, public comment is 3 minutes, and there's speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest?
And Mayor, I'll go ahead and I'll jump in here. The Vice Mayor will be recusing himself from item 26 related to the Cannabis Equity Grant Program. The Vice Mayor does not have a financial interest with this item. However, as stated previously, given that a family member informed him of their intent to apply for a permit under the city's cannabis program, he wishes to avoid any perception issues.
Thank you. That was item 28?
26.
26. All right. Will the city attorney please report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council considered 2 items related to real property negotiations. In closed session, no reportable action was taken.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is acknowledgements and presentations. We have the presentation of the Helen Putnam Award for Excellence to the City of Modesto in recognition for the Partnership of Community Economic Development with Downtown Streets Team, Modesto Police Department for their Student Engagement Officer and 10K with the Cop, and Modesto Police Department for their Healthy Room projects. So presenting today will be Stephen Qualls from Cal Cities. He's the Public Affairs Manager, and Desiree Haas, the League of California Cities partner, Southland. Welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, City staff. I'm honored to be here for the 4th year in a row. So you have probably all heard the history of the Helen Putnam Award and why the League of California Cities created this award for this amazing woman. But I'd like to repeat it again for those who have not heard. So Helen Putnam was a mother, school teacher, principal, mayor, and a county supervisor. Most of all, Helen Putnam was a person who viewed meeting one's potential as a measure of success. Excellence to Helen Putnam was shown by someone who did his or her very best. She was as supportive and loving of people who did their best as she was who did the best. To League of California Cities, Helen Putnam defined excellence. The Helen Putnam Award for Excellence is given in her memory. Established in 1982 by the League of California Cities, the Helen Putnam Award for Excellence program recognizes outstanding achievements by California's 483 cities. These winning cities have made unique contributions to community residents and their businesses, contributions which have resulted in lower costs or more effective delivery of services. The purpose of the League of California Cities Helen Putnam Award for Excellence is to recognize and to promote the outstanding efforts and innovative solutions by city government. I'm proud to say that this is the 4th year in a row that City of Modesto has won this award. This only speaks to the hard work that the City Council and City staff have done to make Modesto a better community to live in. I can tell you that many of your neighboring cities are very jealous of you receiving an award this often, or should I say envious. The Helen Putnam Award was presented to the City of Modesto and showcased at the 2024 annual conference in October. There's 3 separate awards, as the mayor earlier said. The Community Economic Development for Downtown Streets Team, Modesto Police Department for their Student Engagement Officer and 10K with a Cop, and the Modesto Police Department for their Healthy Rooms Project. I'd like now to introduce Desiree Haas with Southland Industries, who is a league partner, to present the 2024 Helen Putnam Award for Excellence to the City of Modesto.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and community members. This is my 3rd year presenting the award to the City of Modesto, and I can't say it's a great honor for us as a company to be able to partner with the League of California Cities, but also to be able to support the great work that your staff, community, and constituents are doing. You truly are an example to the rest of the cities in California of what it means to work collaboratively together in order to solve the issues that you're faced with. So I give a tremendous amount of kudos to what you've done. These videos upcoming will show just a snippet of what it is, and I encourage you to continue the great work, and I look forward to coming back to present a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 20th year. So congratulations to you all, and I truly hope that you understand what an honor it is to be able to do this for you.
All right, thank you. So,
unhoused residents in Modesto were struggling to receive the services they needed. As a result, the city partnered with a local nonprofit on a comprehensive program focused on homeless outreach, job training, employment, and housing. The team offers cleaning and security deposit assistance to shared housing residents. 85% of residents placed in housing stay housed. The program has saved the city millions of dollars, driven in part through a reduction in law enforcement encounters and emergency room visits.
right, thank you. So at this time, accepting the award for CED will be Jessica Hill, Director of Community and Economic Development Department, and Colin Brown, Downtown Streets Team. Welcome.
Thank you so much for being here today. We are very honored to
Do
be.
you want to have Colin?
Yeah.
Were you going to?
Colin.
All right. Thank you.
We are so excited about our partnership with Downtown Streets Team. Downtown Streets Team has been in Modesto since 2019, and since that period of time has been able to serve over 300 homeless individuals, have over 100 individuals employed, and 154 housed. We are very excited of the amount of barriers they've been able to reduce for our homeless individuals, over 1,000 barriers, and that's with IDs, with housing navigation, as well as transportation. Some of the key things that the Downtown Streets Team does is really not only do they help get homeless individuals back on their feet, but they also assist with removing blight in our community. And so we're very thankful for this partnership we have with them and honored to be awarded with the Helen Putnam Award this year.
All right. Thank you. Colin, did you have some remarks?
I wasn't prepared to speak, but I've been put on the spot a lot. Thank you, Jessica, for recapping our program so well. I just want to thank the City of Modesto for being so supportive of our program. My bosses often tell me that the City of Modesto, are the best community to work with in all the in all the cities that Modesto's in, and your support really allows us to run this unique program that has a unique solution to homelessness. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So stay close by, Colin and Jessica, because we'll take pictures after the three presentations together with you. So next, we have Stephen and Desiree with the next award for Student Engagement Officer in 10K with the COP. And accepting this will be Sergeant Alex Rivera, Captain Chris Adams, Assistant Chief Ivan Valencia, and our Police Chief Brandon Gillespie. Welcome.
Modesto faced increasing juvenile delinquency, worsened by the pandemic in which young people felt isolated and disconnected. To address this, the city introduced the Student Engagement Officer Program in partnership with local nonprofits and community organizations. The program focuses on early intervention and building positive relationships with youth. The program also helps young people participate in recreational activities like 10K with a cop. As a result, city officials report reduced suspensions and fewer physical altercations, police calls, and mental health incidents.
All right, welcome.
Well, good evening, Mayor and City Council. And I first want to thank the California League of Cities for awarding the city with this prestigious award. Unfortunately, Sean Dodge, who really should be the one up here, Detective Sean Dodge, was not able to be here tonight. He was actually flying in from out of state, wasn't going to make it in time. So, but I want to acknowledge him. This is just a perfect example of three things. It's collaboration, it's partnerships, and most importantly, the secret sauce that we have here in the city of Modesto amongst all our departments is our people. And this was really an example of a bottom-up type of idea where we had Detective Sean Dodge come forward along with Sergeant Rivera and Captain Adams and really put this program together, partner with Modesto City Schools, designate schools on the west side of Modesto to have a school engagement officer. Sean's been involved in the 10K with a cop program forever, and it's absolutely changing the lives of our youth and putting them, especially at-risk youth, on a trajectory where we can build resilience and teach them leadership qualities and dedication and goal achievement and things like that, and could not be more proud of this. So I wanted to let Captain Adams say a few words as well, but we're really honored to receive this award.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and again, just want to say thank you and the League of California Cities for this. And the idea behind Detective Dodge getting into the schools came from grant funding from the state of California, the BSCC, with our CalVIC funding, and that has been a huge success. I think we've seen across the board. And really, the idea is that early intervention with our youth, which we've been missing for so long, not being in the schools, and getting to the youth before they start getting involved in criminal activity, and really helping them see police officers as mentors. You know, in the past, school resource officers were there to help assist with discipline issues in the schools, but this is about relationship building. This is about bringing an officer early in to build that relationship with students and not be the enforcement side of things. It's truly see what police officers are human beings and build that relationships long term. And Detective Dodge was the perfect fit for that, and he's done a great job. And we're excited within our division to have him, and excited about the future as he continues to be in the schools. So thank you for that.
All right. Thank you very much. So stay here. The next one, presented by Desiree and Stephen, is the Healthy Room Project. Would someone like to make some remarks? Well, we'll see the video first. How about that?
For youth in Modesto, homelessness, poverty, and domestic violence were contributing to an increase in juvenile delinquency. To break this cycle, the city launched the Healthy Room Project, which provides bedroom makeovers for vulnerable children. The initiative improves youth living conditions, strengthens community bonds, and lowers barriers to school. Over 130 children have benefited from the room makeovers, positively impacting their well-being, behavior, and academic performance. By offering these supportive environments, the project enhances public safety and promotes healthier communities.
Well, this is another program that we are just extremely proud of. This again was spearheaded by Detective Dodge, who partnered with Project Blue out of LA. And actually, I'm sure Captain Adams will talk about it, but we've actually now incorporated that into our CalVIP grant as one of our community-based organizations. And so this is again targeting at-risk youth, people that don't have a safe place to call home. But we see resilience, we see positive aspects of what they're doing, and we get donations from the community and other places and go in and actually make over our entire bedroom for these children to have a safe space to call their place and to have a bed, which many of them are sleeping on the floor in sleeping bags or on just a mattress on the floor. And so to really make over these rooms, and Mayor, I know that you've been on a few of these with me, it is really a transformative experience to be able to see the smiles on these kids' faces and to see the impact that we're making. And again, this is
Detective Dodge and our Investigative Services Division with Captain Adams and Sergeant Rivera, who've just done an amazing job. Again, and we couldn't do this without the support of the City Council. So we appreciate with both of these things, the support that we've, unwavering support we received from the City Council and the City Manager to get these things done. So I really appreciate that. So,
All right.
Captain Adams.
And I'll just throw one last thing in there. Detective Dodge, who I know couldn't be here, and I think he's the one who deserves all the credit for this because the amount of countless hours he puts into both of these projects. But specifically, when we talk about Healthy Room, that started right here when we partnered with this LA-based organization, and it's blowing up nationwide. They travel all over the country to do Healthy Rooms. They were recently in Boston, Texas, places like that, and it's starting right here in Modesto, which is something that I think is just speaks volumes about, as the chief mentioned, our people and the things that are happening here that are now starting to spread nationwide. And now this partnership with the CalVIP grant, more money being given to the Healthy Room Project to be right here in Modesto and change the lives of countless number of children that are going to be affected by this project. So we're excited about that.
All right, thank you. Assistant Chief Valencia or Sergeant Rivera, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
I could just make a brief comment. I know he talked about the children and how it's affected them, but it's also impacted us as volunteers, and I know you've gone as well, Mayor, and that feeling that you get when you help these children that are in need and give them a safe space is just incredible. I think all our staff has been able to experience that. It's what a wonderful program. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys on behalf of Sean Dodge and the department. These both programs are great programs. They build a good, good relationships with the youth and with the community. And like the assistant chief said, I believe that they are also helping the officers with their own well-being. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So now, if you just pause for a little bit, are there any comments from council members regarding these presentations? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, sometimes you have to think outside the box to get things done, and that my hat's off to our city manager and our department heads that like to think outside the box, to do things different, to make a really benefit our community. I know on the street teams, since they've been involved, they have picked up 1.9 million pounds of trash over the last several years they've been involved. Last month they picked up, or in October they picked up, I think, about 21,000 pounds of trash. Also, they hit 35 parks throughout the city of Modesto. And what I've noticed with the downtown street team is that they're picking up less trash because it's just like graffiti on a building. When it stays graffiti, more graffiti goes there. But once you cover it up, it seems to go away. And the same thing with trash. If we pick our trash up and people see the clean streets, really, the mindset is keep our streets clean. So my hat's off to our street teams, Jessica, to your team, really helping make sure we have funding for them, and also to our chief for all the work you guys are doing. It's just making Modesto a better city, and people in the state and throughout the United States are seeing that. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to just thank each and every one of you all that are standing here and those that are not standing here. They have put money into it. They have been sponsors. They have perhaps driven the U-Haul or whatever they have done, or even those who are on the street team. Thank you for being supervisors. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It really makes our city a wonderful place to live. So thank you very much.
All right, Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I think probably the most important thing here is that I really appreciate MPD's ability to think out of the box and to act and to be creative, because so much of these community problems they're not something that government's designed really to deal with, and so when you do less kind of thinking and more doing and more just acting with good intention, the community feels that. And that these kind of programs are just common sense. It's like, 10K with a cop builds relationships. Yeah. Having a safe place for kids to be. Yeah. And none of these things break the budgets, but they make major, major impacts. And so I want to applaud these efforts, because the thing is, maybe they don't cost a bunch of money, but they take a lot of brain space and they take a lot of like work. I appreciate that, and I know that the residents of this community do as well. And you earned an award because you did it, right? But more importantly, the community's better, you know. And then, of course, I can't forget Downtown Streets team. The impact you guys are making, we're seeing it every day. Councilmember Wright, absolutely correct. The trash off the streets is one part of it, and that's important. But I think the building back of self-esteem and pride in the people that are actually doing it is super meaningful, and it's given those people the prep they need to join society again. And so we're very lucky as a city to have a group like Downtown Streets team here helping us, and I just really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Stevie Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Steve and Desiree, for bringing these awards and acknowledging the hard work that our team has done in these areas. These 3 programs are just, as has been spoken, just so creative and just life-changing for so many of our community members. And I'm not surprised that the City of Modesto once again has stepped up and been early implementers on just these life-changing programs. And these programs just speak again just to the heart of the kind of people that live here and the kind of people that work for the city. And it's just wonderful to be part of this team that really gives back to the community. So thank you for acknowledging that work. Thank you to everyone that's involved.
Right, any other comments? I think that for me personally, when, well, everyone knows how I feel about Downtown Streets teams. First of all, award first. It's just a remarkable experience to spend time with people that are so appreciative and kind and excited about what they do for our community. And I might add, when I went to an event with Downtown Streets team, and the CEO of the organization statewide came up to me and said, Mayor, in Modesto just blows it out of the water, our Downtown Streets team. Like, we are the model for every other person, and I think it's really, for every other Downtown Streets team program, and I think it's really good for us to, we're not very good about bragging in Modesto at all, and I think it's really important to bring attention to that. And I might add that it's the same way with our Healthy Room Project. When the person that's in charge from Los Angeles tells me every time he comes here that we are the model for the nation for this. So this has been like many, many, many children whose lives have been impacted, and adults with Downtown Streets team as well. So thank you for all that you do. I could not be more thrilled. And Stephen, I appreciate you mentioning about Helen Putnam. You know, interestingly, I was watching a Facebook post and someone mentioned that they were going to go to Helen Putnam Park over in the Bay Area. And I thought, that is really cool. Like, I know who this person is. Look at the impact that she's had by living that life and then giving these awards that are ongoing. It's really, really great. So I really want to go to that park someday just to maybe feel a little bit of her energy. But I appreciate all of you. So thank you for being here this evening. We will now join you we'll do 2 photos. The first will be with CED and Downtown Streets teams with the award, and then a second one will combine 2 with the police department.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you for the award. What happened to someone with you? Yeah.
Good to see you. Thank you. I think Colin initially.
Mayor. I'll go in the back.
No, Colin here.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah, there you go.
This is not normal. Usually I put in the back.
Yeah, you do too. Yeah, we're all doing that.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Mayor, did you just thank?
All right, now we'll do side of them, award.
Yeah, that's fine. And my bad, I didn't bring my award. It'll just be a photo. No, I'm just taller than you, so I think.
Just get close, angle.
Yeah, you'll work.
There you go.
There you go. You're gonna hit the sorority pose.
Angle, guys, angle. There you go, there you go.
I don't want to lose you, Councilman Ray. Barely see you out
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great work. Great work. Congratulations.
See you in a few days, buddy. Yeah.
I also wanted to mention that this is Stephen Quall's last presentation with us. He will be retiring, and we appreciate his service to our community.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Councilmember. It's been a great 17 years. I've seen a lot of people come and go on this council as well as all the other ones, you know. And I've just been very, very blessed to have gotten this position. As you probably know, I was on the Houston City Council for 3 years, Planning Commission before that, and I would have never gotten this position if it wasn't for the citizens of Houston electing me to the City Council. So I'm very, very fortunate to have done this for almost 17 years and to work with you, great people. I want to let the people of Modesto please know that the City Council, the mayor, city staff have been so supportive of the league efforts. Our job is to protect the cities from Sacramento, and that's what we do. And the City Council, everybody has been so great about supporting us with letters and calls to their legislators. We had the president of our division over here, Rosa, and again, I just want to thank all of you for all the hard work you do. I've been in your shoes, much smaller scale, but I've been in your shoes before, and it's a tough job. And I really salute all of you for doing a great deal for your city.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wish you well.
And if I might just say something, Stephen's a true champion for cities, and he's always held Modesto near and dear to his heart. So as a partner of the league, we strive to support the constituents of the league, the cities that support, but seeing the way Stephen chose to serve his community and his region and the leaders that you have here on your council is just tremendous. So we're losing a good champion, but we're going to try our best to keep him around as long as possible. So,
all right.
So thank you all.
Thank you very much. All right. Next is item 2. This is a presentation of a check to the City of Modesto Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhoods Department from proceeds received from the North Modesto Kiwanis Club as the presenting sponsor of the annual Breakfast with Santa event. So presenting will be, all right, Jennifer Mullen, North Modesto Kiwanis member.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and City Manager. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight. My name is Jennifer Mullen, and as they said, I'm really honored to be representing North Modesto Kiwanis. And if I may, in the audience with us, we have Brian Sanders, Tim Ragsdale, and I think I saw Harrison Ford, other Kiwanians. Yeah, did I say Ford? Well, that was, sorry, Power. Guess I'm thinking of American Graffiti. Okay, anyway, pleasure for us to be here tonight on behalf of the North Modesto Kiwanis. We're a service club with over 100 plus members. We're dedicated to community service, especially serving children. Through our fundraising efforts, North Modesto Kiwanis support local nonprofits, giving thousands of dollars each year to dozens of local charitable organizations. Some of our efforts include the American Graffiti Car Show, Parade, and Festival, held the second weekend in June, scholarship program for high school students, and a large Christmas food and gift basket distribution program for needy families. But tonight, we're very excited to be here to talk about our annual Breakfast with Santa program. We're now in its 14th year, and this is truly, truly a partnership with the city. We are so honored and proud to work with the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood, all in an effort to support your Leisure Bucks program. But this wouldn't be possible, like I said, without a partnership. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Shannon Parker to please come up. Thank you so much. Shannon, as you know, is your director of the Senior Citizen Center. And I might say she does a phenomenal job. She's very dedicated, extremely hardworking, and with her leadership, it's the reason that we can be so successful. Also in the audience is Bruce Lockhart and his crew. Again, it's just terrific that we can partner with the city to make this event happen. I also would like to say that coming up is this Saturday, this year's Breakfast with Santa. So December 7th, you're all invited, and your listeners and TV viewership, to Breakfast with Santa. It is at the Senior Center. It's 8 a.m. to 11:30. We have Santa, of course, free photos. Mrs. Claus reads stories. We have arts and crafts for the kids. And just we have live music, doing carols and holiday activity with the Kyle Barker and his pajama band. So please join us. And after that, just a quick reminder, on December 7th is your Celebration Holiday of Lights Parade. So what a great day. Come and have a great breakfast with Santa, enjoy local shopping, and then come out to our parade. And if you haven't been, it is so magical. It's really amazing. But getting back to Breakfast with Santa, we sell tickets, we donate tickets to needy children, we have sponsors that also participate with us, which we greatly appreciate. And of course, all the North Modesto Kiwanis are master chefs, so the breakfast is phenomenal, I might add, with pancakes and that kind of thing. So please come out and join us on the 7th. But tonight, we're really honored to be able to present the Leisure Bucks program through Parks and Rec, a check in the amount of $10,000. And this check is just for 2023, for our breakfast of 2023. So if we combine this check with the years we've been doing it, combining with the city's partnership and with North Modesto Kiwanis, we have given approximately $94,000 to your city's Leisure Bucks program. Pretty fantastic. We're very excited by that.
Thank you.
So again, we just want to thank the council so much for your continued support. Please come out and support the breakfast and the parade, and a very, very special thank you to Parks and Rec Neighborhood for being a great partner. We appreciate you very much. See you Saturday.
I was going to invite Jeremy Rogers from our our director from Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhoods Department here also, if you had some remarks before we hear from the council members.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jeremy Rogers, Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhoods Director. We can't thank the North Modesto Kiwanis Group enough for their partnership. This has gone on, as she said, for many, many years, and this goes back to help our community. This allows citizens that can't participate in our events to be able to participate in our programs and events, and to be able to take those swim lessons and those tumbling classes and everything that we offer in our department. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate it and look forward to continuing the partnership.
Absolutely. It's a
All
great
right.
partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is
Do
that
we
the
have,
check?
pardon me? Well, I'm going to hear council member remarks regarding item 2. Council member Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I think they left out one Kiwanian. Maybe first of all, you always have to have your pin on when you go to the meetings.
That is true.
And if any of the Kiwanians out there have their pin on, raise your hand.
Oh, no.
So we would expect a sad dollar this coming Thursday for not having your pin on. But the North Modesto Kiwanis Club is an outstanding club, and it is open for anyone who wants to join that club. We meet on Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. At this point, we're getting ready to move to a different location. But however, it's at Papa Pellini's, and it will be over by the basket, the biscuit basket. Yes, this coming Thursday at 7 a.m. But great job. It's great men and women in the club that do a great work for this community. Thank you for contributing to the City of Modesto $10,000.
Right, we certainly appreciate your generosity. So we will join you now with for a photo.
And Harrison Ford especially up here. Oh, gosh. Can you, would you hold this, sir? For you?
Jennifer, you want to borrow my pen for a second?
Squeeze in it. We're mayor. Who's in here?
No, this is the Parks and Rec. Thank you for being here.
You're right.
Don't really block you out.
No, it's Parks and
Oh, that was by design. Sorry.
Wait, hold on.
Hang on.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Really great partnership. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Absolutely. Good.
Saturday night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Beautiful job.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow, what a handshake there. Thank you very much. What do you think, Charlie?
I didn't get to say it.
All right. As noted on the agenda, public comment will only be in person. Zoom will still be available for viewing and wordly translation. Thank you all for being here tonight. The City of Modesto Council meetings are a place where everyone is encouraged to listen, share views, and participate in the decision-making process that benefits our community. Your engagement is valuable, and it helps our council and city staff collaborate on finding solutions that enhance the quality of life for the residents of Modesto. To be fair and equitable, every individual has the right to speak at this council meeting. However, it is imperative that we foster and maintain a respectful environment for the well-being and safety for everyone present at these proceedings. It is the mayor's responsibility to preserve strict order and decorum at all council meetings. Pursuant to the Charter of the City of Modesto, Article 6, the mayor, Section 601, Powers and Duties of Mayor. The mayor shall have the authority to preserve order at all council meetings and to remove or cause the removal of any person from any meeting of the council for disorderly conduct, to enforce the rules of the council, and to determine the order of business under the rules of the council. Accordingly, the City Council meeting decorum rules are as follows. Please be respectful of all presenters, council members, staff, and members of the public. Please refrain from clapping other than following a presentation. All speakers are encouraged to state their name and city of residence. All questions must be directed to the mayor. Please do not block the view of others by holding signs up during council meetings. Time limits for public comments is 3 minutes, but may be limited at the discretion of the mayor to manage the business of the council. Speaking over others or interrupting while others have the floor is not permitted. Cell phones should be turned off or shall be set to vibrate during meetings. Thank you for your patience and participation as we work together to address the issues impacting our community. Maintaining order and decorum during the City Council meeting is crucial in the effective governance of Modesto and ensuring the Council's decisions are reflective of the community's priorities. Anyone disrupting the Council meeting may be asked to leave. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the Council agenda, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to address the City Council is asked to follow the rules of decorum, and they are posted at the entrance of the chambers. So right now, I just have one card, and it looks like it's Dan or Dav. Nickel. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Daniel Nichols. I live at 3200 Roselle Avenue. Roselle Avenue has become a drag strip between Kodiak and Sylvan. Kodiak is a roundabout, Sylvan's a roundabout. I've clocked vehicles going past my entrance gate. I live in a private residence with a big entrance gate, going over 80, 90 miles an hour, and people drag strip there at night. Now, Enoch High School is right down the street, and we have high school students walking down that street. And you can look up how many accidents have been created on Kodiak and Sylvan of people going too fast, hitting the roundabouts, going over the top of them and flipping over. I know the police department is stretched really thin in this city, and they're doing a great job. But you need to put more policemen on the ground and fund them so they can do more jobs, or a child is going to be killed on Roselle. As I say, Kodiak is a roundabout, Sylvan's a roundabout, and I live on the east side at 3200 Avenue. So I'm just letting you know, I've been watching this for like a year and a half now, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So something has to be done about it. Put up signs, put policemen out there to write tickets, so some child in this city doesn't get killed. There's already been a couple of people driving cars been killed on these roundabouts, but that's their fault. But we don't want any children from that high school killed because of speeding. And I thank you very kindly.
I appreciate your comments, and I'm going to ask, is Chief Gillespie still here? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask him to come forward and explain what we are doing, because this is something that we are all acutely aware of and feel very strongly about. And we actually have an initiative called Safe Streets for All to truly address the issue that you described. So I'm going to ask our police chief to make a comment on patrol and how we really appreciate your comments and want to make a difference and change this.
But as I say, the police department in this town are doing a hell of a job, but they need more vehicles and people on the ground, and that costs money.
We agree, so he will address that. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mayor, this is not unusual, right, for complaints that we get regarding the driving behavior in our city, and it's something that for probably well over 15 years has been a struggle. As you all know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, that because of the financial state of the city, the police department, along with other departments in the city's staffing resources, have been cut significantly from 286 back in 2007-8 to where we're currently at 211. The good news that I want to make sure everybody's aware, I think, to your point, sir, is 2025 is going to be a really good year. We have been hiring like crazy, and I think we're going to see a lot of fruits of that labor this year. We have a lot of people that are in the hiring process, as everybody knows. To hire an officer and actually get them to where they're solo out on the street, actually enforcing traffic laws and things like that, can take up to 18 months. 6-month academy, 6-month FTO program, and then the background process. So even though, again, the game changer was Measure H, right? That was something that has now afforded our city really financial stability to do all the things that we wanted to do. Our goal is in the first half of this coming year to add probably 4 more traffic officers to our traffic unit. And so we're going to be able to get to a lot more of these places that we're talking about and do the enforcement, because I truly believe we can change driving behavior. It takes all of us together, right? It takes us all together. It's not just the police department involved in community safety, it's all of us. But that is one strategy, is more police officers. When you see a motorcycle cop, you look twice, so you think about it, because you know what they're out there doing. And so our goal is absolutely to drive down a lot of the accidents. We all know that when we look at Office of Traffic Safety statistics, we do really well, and we're doing fantastic year over year in dropping crime over and over and over, but our traffic accidents, our fatal collisions, things like that, are some of the worst in our area and beyond. And so it is absolutely a priority of mine, as I know it is the council, to make sure that we do get more traffic officers and police officers in general. And I think that, I appreciate the support that the council has given me since taking over police chief almost 3 years ago. And it's been exciting. So I think we're going to see a huge improvement in our staffing levels, actually officers on the street by themselves handling calls for service and enforcing the traffic in 2025. So 2025, I'll knock on wood so I don't jinx it, is going to be a really good year to help tackle the issues you're talking about.
But it's just, it's the city council that has to dig deep in their pockets and eliminate all the peripheral money going out to peripheral things and support this police department and give them more money. Thank you very kindly. Also, I'm a real estate developer and a cattle rancher here in Modesto.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward to speak under public comment? This is for items not on tonight's agenda.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Kevin McClarty, District 1. I wanted to talk about the city buses. They produce a traffic hazard when they stop on the side of the road to pick people up or to drop people off. And especially on McHenry, Standiford, Briggsmore, streets like that. And they really do produce a danger because, for instance, let's take McHenry. So let's say that they stop at a bus stop and they're going to pick somebody up, or let's say that they're going to drop somebody off. Okay, so they're dropping somebody off, and now they're impeding traffic in the right lane, the far right lane. The people on the far right lane are merging or attempting to merge over into the center lane to get around the bus. In the meantime, you've got the pedestrian who just got off the bus who was trying to cross the street. And now the people who have just merged into the lane to the left cannot see the pedestrian because the bus is blocking their view. So then you've got the danger of a pedestrian being hit by the car. And this is all being caused by the bus, blocking people's views, blocking traffic. Now, I'm wondering if there's something that could be done about this. And being that I am not an engineer, I don't know what that would be. But I'm just wondering if there is something that can be done, because it's not safe for anybody concerned. It's not safe for motorists. It's not safe for the pedestrians getting off the bus. And it really is producing a danger. Obviously, when streets like McHenry were made, they were not made with buses in mind. And the bus stops were something that were added later, and probably not with a whole lot of thought about, what the ramifications are going to be. I don't know if they were to provide a cutout so that the bus would go into the cutout and it would not be impeding traffic. They have cutouts like that on Sisk Road. So the bus goes into a cutout and it is not impeding traffic. I don't know if something like that could be done, but the way it is now, it is producing a danger for especially, I would say, for pedestrians, because there's a very good chance that they're going to get hit by the cars that are merging into the center lane, because the people who are merging into that center lane cannot see the pedestrians who are now trying to cross the street because the bus just is blocking everything. So I'm asking if something could be done about that problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward to speak under public comment? All right. Next on the agenda is consent items. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? And we've been asked by Councilmember Ricky to pull item 6. Any other council members that would like anything pulled? All right. Is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? All right. Will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item 3, consider approving the minutes for the November 12th, 2024 council meeting. Item 4, consider approving final adoption of ordinance 3787, amending various sections and tables within Title 10 of the Modesto Municipal Code relating to accessory dwelling units. Item 5, consider amending the 2025 calendar of regularly scheduled city council and council standing committee meetings and rescinding resolution 2024-381. Item 6 has been removed from consent. Item 7, consider accepting the solid waste and forestry efficiency study update report. Item 8, consider accepting the property management review report. Item 9, consider accepting the fleet internal controls review report. Item 10, consider approving the recommended budget adjustments to fiscal year 2024-2025 annual operating and CIP budgets and amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 position allocation. Item 11, consider removing the original home investment partnership award in the amount of $1,786,971 and approving a first amendment to the permanent local housing allocation loan agreement with Stanislaus Regional Housing Authority to increase the loan by $1,786,971 for a new total amount of $2,745,694. Item 12, consider accepting an informational report for the October 2024 Accounts Payable Payment Register and Void Report. Item 13, consider approving an agreement with Gilton Solid Waste Management Incorporated and Bertolotti Modesto Disposal Incorporated to perform billing and collection services for certain solid waste removal provided to single-family residential customers within the city limits of Modesto for a 2-year agreement with 3 one-year extension options. Item 14, consider approving a change order to the agreement with OpenGov Incorporated out of San Francisco, California for the public bidding solution subscription, increasing the agreement amount by $13,975. Item 15, consider approving the First Amendment with Public Group, aka Public Surplus, out of Provo, Utah, for online auction services, increasing the agreement amount by $250,000. Item 16, consider approving an agreement with First Alarm Wellness out of Vista, California for behavioral health services for the Modesto Fire Department for a 2-year agreement with 3 one-year extension options for an annual estimated amount of $32,100 and a total amount not to exceed $160,500 over 5 years. Item 16, consider approving a second amendment with West Coast Door and Gate out of Ceres, California for on-call commercial roll-up door maintenance and repair services, increasing the agreement amount by $50,000 for a new total amount not to exceed $286,000 and extending the term of the agreement from December 2nd, 2024 to December 2nd, 2025. Item 18, consider approving an agreement with the State of California Office of Emergency Services to temporarily house and maintain a Type 1 hazmat emergency response vehicle. Item 19, consider approving a purchase agreement with Halcyon Communications Group out of Turlock, California to enhance cybersecurity infrastructure for a total amount not to exceed $240,000 over 3 years. Item 20, consider rejecting all bids for the Sonoma Sewer Trunk Phase 3 and 4A projects. Item 21, consider approving an on-call hydraulic wastewater system modeling support services agreement with Carollo Engineers Incorporated out of Sacramento, California for a total amount not to exceed $300,000 over 3 years. Item 22, consider approving an on-call hydraulic water system modeling support services agreement with West Yost and Associates Incorporated out of Davis, California for a total amount not to exceed $300,000 over 3 years.
All right. I have been informed that Councilmember Ricky wants to pull item 7.
Okay.
Not 6, I'm sorry.
Rather than 6, not 6. So would the clerk please read item 6?
Yes. Item 6, consider accepting the procurement performance audit report. And
All right.
then item 7 has been removed from consent.
Correct. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as read.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ricky and a second by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember.
Excuse me.
Who made the motion?
Councilmember Bavaro made the motion and Councilmember Williams seconded. I apologize if I didn't state that
both wear
clearly.
glasses, so it's okay.
I can call the roll now. Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Aye. So that carries unanimously. So now we will go back to item 7. Consider accepting the solid waste and forestry efficiency study update report. And giving that report will be Colleen Rosillas, our city auditor. Welcome.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Colleen Rosillas, City Auditor. So I'll just go quickly over the findings in this report, and then I'd be happy to answer any questions. We conducted an efficiency study of the city's solid waste and forestry divisions. This was part of the internal audit program that was approved by you all earlier this year. And it was a follow-up study to a study that was conducted in 2016. The audit committee has been interested in following up on prior audits and identifying that progress. So this looked at providing updates on that progress, identifying any additional opportunities for improvement in management, organizational structure, operations, customer service in the forestry and solid waste divisions. I will note at the time of that original study that forestry and solid waste were in the same division and now they have been separated out, but we treated them similarly in this report to be able to provide that one-to-one connect. So this study was conducted primarily April through July, and it was conducted by doing an all-staff survey, interviewing staff and management, looking at lots and lots of data, and then performing a gap analysis compared to other cities and best practices, including things like tree ordinances, state laws, all that sort of thing. So the first thing that I want to note is the 2016 study. There was quite a challenge in terms of culture within the divisions, and staffing levels and associated morale have both improved pretty significantly. Both divisions have also spent a lot of time focusing on improving process efficiencies and trying to improve customer service. And both divisions are now tracking KPIs that are high quality, and they're reporting on those on a regular basis. Of the 11 findings in that original study, 2 are resolved, 6 are ongoing, and that risk and challenges are decreasing. 1 is increasing in severity, and 2 are kind of flat. We noticed some key themes. So staff capacity within solid waste. There are quite a few unfunded mandates from the state related to solid waste, and that's something that Public Works has been dealing with for several years. Code enforcement, blight abatement, compliance, that's all regulatory driven, and so staff have been really working to manage that. Equipment and procurement, so those are areas where both divisions rely on other divisions within the city, the engine of the city, to be able to do their work. And so being able to balance their needs as the customer to be able to serve the public is important. And those are 2 areas where we identified opportunities for the divisions to work more effectively together. And then we had a number of findings around employee retention, things like addressing the tree maintenance backlog and addressing tree risk, which are lower risk but are definitely important to the operations of the organization. We also noted that the city's tree ordinance could be strengthened in a couple of different areas. And then finally, we had a couple of new things that came up in the report. One was, again, just looking at forestry staff capacity to make sure that staffing was aligned with the community's needs, and then making sure that technology was used as effectively as possible for both internal division processes as well as those public-facing operations that may be conducted on paper. So with that, I'll answer any of your questions.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from council members regarding item 7, the study update? Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. In the audit recommendations, you mentioned that the tree ordinance needs to be strengthened.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me a more detailed explanation of what's wrong with the current tree ordinance?
Yeah, so the tree ordinance hasn't been updated in more than a decade, and a tree ordinance basically explains to the public what is important to us in terms of our trees and also how we take care of them. So it includes things like what are our goals for our tree canopy. It includes things like our tree management strategy, and then that helps to set the standard for the services provided to the public. So we've provided in the report, it's on page 16, we compared the city's tree ordinance with the tree ordinance, the model tree ordinance that has been developed by the International Society of Arborists. So we have a couple of key recommendations. One is to really articulate the goals of the city, and Modesto's a really unique place in terms of the number of trees as well as what the city does in terms of tree management. And we've always done tree management in-house here, which is pretty unique among cities. It also recommends that we conduct some community surveys or public outreach in the development of the tree ordinance, and then to provide a link within the ordinance to what the tree management strategy is, what we do in terms of maintenance, and then also identify consequences for actions that might be prohibited by the ordinance, so things like violating the ordinance, but also what do we not want people to do, and how do we incentivize appropriate behavior related to the city's trees.
I missed that on page 16, but I think what I may have gotten was a different part of the report, but that's okay. I'm very interested in updating that ordinance. I agree. I think when you look at the resident expectations compared to the way that we're delivering the services right now, we're missing the mark. And if the ordinance is part of that, then I think that's something important we need to look at. Another thing I noticed in the report is that you recommended a 5 to 6 year pruning cycle. Is that also one of the ISA recommendations? Or?
Yeah, that's a best practice.
What's our current pruning cycle?
The current pruning cycle, it should be in here. Here comes Bill to answer that question.
Good afternoon, council members. Bill Sandy, Public Works Director. So as you know, we've been rebuilding forestry for the last 2 to 3 years, and we have about 81,000 trees, street trees. And last year we trimmed over 12,000 trees, and the year before over 10,000 trees. So that brings down about somewhere around 7 to 8 years. And before we took over this rebuilding effort for forestry, our pruning cycle was 12 to 13 years. So we're down to 7 to 8 years. I think goal is within 5 to 7 years. That's the best practice for ISA, and we're almost there. And the forestry, when you're rebuilding something for long term, it's a process. You got to start from bottom and you got to start from top. That's what we've done in forestry. I think I do feel that we've been very responsive last year to 2 years, given the funding now. And we are also starting to work with the residents. We met with college area neighborhood, and we're trying to reaching out to other neighborhoods so we can get their input before we update our tree ordinance. It's important to get neighborhoods input to new tree ordinance. It will take some process, it will take some time for forestry. And to answer your question, council members, so we're currently sit between maybe 7 to 8 year cycle.
Thank you. You were sent dozens of emails from residents about their experiences with forestry. Can you talk about what the audit learned about customer service in the forestry department?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a couple of areas where we discuss customer service in the report. One is in recommendation number 10, where we talk about technology use and how the city can digitize processes, be more efficient and effective in responding to resident requests. There's a lot that's paper-based, and so while that might be the way that we have always done things, and it might be a way that folks are used to keeping track of things, it's really difficult for residents and other members of the community to be able to come in and hand something in on paper. So that's definitely something that can be improved. We also know that when we're coming up with trying to rebuild and trying to address a long backlog, that a lot of the work that occurs is reactive. And so a lot of the work that has been done in forestry over the last couple of years has been in order to address the backlog so we don't have that reactive work. And it's a real balance between responding to complaints and managing those emergencies and getting that proactive work done, which is why the division has focused on staffing up. So what we learned through the process is that folks are really committed to doing it, and it's honestly a measure of capacity at this point, but it is something that folks are working on. And part of that has also been engaging with contractors as well to be able to get that backlog under control.
Okay, so I just have a couple more questions. Another issue that residents complained consistently to me about is phone calls to forestry not resulting in the actions that they needed. What can you tell me about the forestry's system for taking phone calls and recommendations?
Yeah, so there is 1.5 FTEs, administrative office analysts within forestry that respond directly to resident or other community calls. And we do have this recommendation number 3 to take a look at potential for additional capacity, either by reassigning folks or adding a team member in order to handle resident calls that they can't get to the number that they had thought they could get to, and so that is absolutely a challenge for folks. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that at times forestry takes more calls than actually public safety. So I know that's an issue. But I think the bigger issue is not actually taking the calls, it is getting the data from the call into a system. And I'm worried that there's a hole there based on the level of complaints that I'm getting. I don't know, I mean, I'm sure that it's also people, but I'm worried that the system is the problem.
Yeah, we definitely note that in terms of use of technology, being able to actually maximize the system. The system that is in place is not a system that was necessarily meant for tree maintenance. And so folks are trying to use it to the best of their ability, but I would imagine that there are some gaps there. The other challenge is after a storm, it's hard to prioritize, right? So that's when you probably get more calls than public safety, but making sure that things are prioritized and risk-based. And there are protocols in terms of responding after a storm, but it takes a lot in order to respond. And as we've talked about, there's this unique situation where there's a lot to get to. So that can be a challenge for the team.
Awesome. 2 more questions. Your audit revealed massive improvements in forestry performance over the last 3 years. Nicely done, Bill. What do you attribute these improvements to?
A couple of things. So forestry staffing has increased from 40 to 58 FTEs. That's a pretty significant staff increase. And when we talk about adding additional capacity throughout this report, it might not be an FTE. It might be reassigning folks in order to address the highest priority area, because staffing has increased almost 50%, which is, it shows a pretty significant investment on the city's part. And then I also think culture, right? So the team has turned over quite a bit. Management, there's new management in place that is really dedicated to improving the team, and Public Works Administration has been very dedicated to improvements in this division, and you see that paying off with the addressing of the maintenance backlog over the last couple of years.
Agreed. And finally, we did a survey in this audit of our employees. Why didn't this audit include a survey of residents, because they would give us the best insights on how the department's performing?
That's a great question. So we didn't do a survey of residents because it's pretty difficult and expensive to do a statistically significant or any kind of valid survey of the public for something like this. What we would recommend is that any division that serves the public you can do kind of pulse surveys after someone requests service. So if someone sends in a complaint or a request for service, send out a quick 2-question afterwards. That's data that we could then collect and assess. We also have done in other studies kind of did a selection of recent customers and pull out that. So when we go back and do an update of this study in a couple of years, that's certainly something we can consider.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, any other questions from council members regarding item 7? Seeing none, I'll open item 7 up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding this item? All right, I will close public comments. Are there any comments from council members? Well, I think it's pretty obvious our trees are really, really, really important in our community. And I appreciate the efforts that have taken place thus far. Appreciate the audit. It's good to bring attention to this. I can speak for myself. I'm getting almost zero emails regarding trees, and it was certainly not that way 4 years ago. I rarely do get an email regarding a tree or a stump removal, and that is sent to the city manager. It goes through staff, and the response is pretty incredible. And I think the most noteworthy part is after the storms, how quickly the roads were cleared. That was really, really impressive. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Thank you for your efforts. So I have a motion accepting the solid waste and forestry efficiency study update report?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Wright.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ricky. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutierrez-Brayton.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye, carries unanimously. Thank you. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any of the council members have any comments and reports at this time? Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a brief comment on Thanksgiving Day. Dan and Denise Costa, their 40th year of putting together a feeding of the homeless at the plaza took place. About 400 and so many people came through and were able to have a warm Thanksgiving meal because of their efforts. So I want to thank Dan and Denise Costa for that. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Scutierrez-Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. During public comment earlier, a couple individuals referenced safe streets. So I thought it would be apropos at this time to mention that the city is working on an effort to address safe streets. And there's more information if anyone wishes to hear more about what this effort is at modestosafestreets.com. I encourage anyone interested in hearing more information about that wonderful work that we're doing and being part of that conversation to, again, go to modestosafestreets.com. If you didn't write that down, you could go to our website and just search Safe Streets. It'll get you to that email address, or to that website, I should say. Also, I will leave at the corner here a square that you could just take a picture of, and it'll take you to that website. One thing of note is that the city will be working with our contractor and doing pop-ups next week so that you can provide further input on your concerns in this area and receive information, again, on the good work we're doing in regards to safe streets. So just wanted to mention that since it had been brought up during public comment. A couple weeks ago, I had a wonderful opportunity to tour a inner city redevelopment project. It was wonderful. It is a site at the old Clarion Inn Conference Center off of Sisk Road, and this is a home site that the Housing Authority is putting together. They're redeveloping that old space into 148 affordable housing, 148 affordable home sites. And it just is so impressive that they took an old, dated, dilapidated conference center and are just beautifying it to be 148 affordable home sites with amenities that are going to include a restaurant, laundry facilities, and other amenities that will help the residents that live there. It's currently under development, and I would imagine that as it gets closer to go live, they'll provide more information to the public in terms of the application process of how to live there. But again, it was very exciting to see that is part of our improvements and options for homes, much needed homes in the city of Modesto. And lastly, I had the wonderful opportunity to initiate my holiday experience, Christmas experience, by attending the South Modesto Business United tree lighting ceremony yesterday. It was the first kickoff to the Christmas season, and it always gets me into the spirit. And I was one of many elected officials there. We lit the tree, and it just made what otherwise was a pretty boring space, a corner in Crow's Landing. It illuminated it with color and brilliance, and it was really just a lovely thing to see. The same organization will be having a Posada Navideña tomorrow, which means it's a community event. It really is just a lovely event where they welcome the Modesto community to go to this posada, and the children have an opportunity to receive gifts. And I'm not talking a candy cane. I'm talking some kids walk away with bikes and just wonderful blankets and just great toys. The kids are just so excited. Parents will be receiving a bag full of groceries. Many things are given to the families there. It's so popular that it is hundreds of families wrap around the block at a chance to get some of these fun items. And it really is this one event is the epitome and joy of Christmas charitable giving in the city of Modesto. And again, this is an event being coordinated by South Modesto Business United, SMBU, and I'm super delighted to be participating in that tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I was lucky enough to have a really wonderful meeting with about 100 residents at Modesto Center Plaza about our feral cat problem just before Thanksgiving. And I learned a lot about the challenge that we're having with it. For example, I didn't know that spay and neuter programs were halted during COVID-19 and really haven't resumed fully, or that decision led to a significant increase in our feral cat populations, and that some residents are reporting dozens of litters of feral cats in their neighborhoods. I also wasn't aware that veterinary costs have risen dramatically with spaying a female cat. Those costs going from $85 up to about $235 now per cat, which is making it unaffordable for a lot of people. And also just the impacts of feral cats on our parks and wildlife areas, like Tuolumne River Park and Fox Grove. They've become really like dumping areas for feral cats, and it's creating a lot of disruption in the local ecosystems and threatening wildlife. So over the next 60 days, I'm going to be meeting with the executive board of our new feral cat committee, and I'm looking forward to hammering out some recommendations and trying to find some solutions with the county. And if you're interested in participating and getting more involved in trying to help us with this problem, you can always just message me on Facebook or send me an email. My email's on the city's website. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start off just kind of with a brief summary of what I've been working on and what I'm going to be working on this coming week, and then a little bit about the upcoming projects or events in District 2. So yesterday I met with the NAACP Housing Committee to provide an update about the general news and just chatter, if you will, regarding the 54 acres of former golf course, the Muni Golf Course, and what is being proposed there. So the city is still looking closely at Muni to determine what would be the best use of that location, and that could include entertainment, housing, and retail. But once there are potential options, there will be community engagement meetings to discuss this. I made sure to express that my vision and what I'm hearing from my constituents is that we have an element of workforce housing there, but it's not exclusive to just workforce housing. My vision for the 54 acres is mixed use, so retail, entertainment, and workforce housing. And so that's what I will be continuing to promote and continuing to fight for as it pertains to Muni. Upcoming Thursday, December 5th, this week in a couple of days, from 5 to 7, I will be participating as a panelist alongside other leaders to respond and provide my reactions and input to the People's Plan report commissioned by the West Modesto Community Collaborative under the leadership of Perfecta Munoz, their executive director. I'll be alongside other panelists, including Supervisor Terry Withrow, Mary Ann Lilly with the Health Services Agency, Rosa Park de Leon from the Council of Governments, Stanislaus Council of Governments, Jim Cruzy with Stanislaus County Regional Housing Administration, and Omedo Mejia from Modesto City Schools will be fellow panelists. In regards to the events happening in District 2, yesterday Rosa and Rosa and I, and among a bunch of other elected officials from throughout the county, participated in South Modesto Business United's tree lighting, and as we do every year. And that was well attended. I kind of got a little bit of excitement seeing, the mayor-elect of Riverbank in District 2 in Modesto. She participated in that tree lighting. Supervisor Chance Condit was out there as well. Mayor Lopez of City of Ceres participated in there among a bunch of other elected officials. So that was really nice to see that support for the South Modesto Business United. Before we actually got to that event, I want to give a shout out and tip my hat to Supervisor Chance Condit for working with my office to pick up blight left over from homeless on the corner of Hatch and Crow's Landing, right behind the tree lighting. We got that message from the leadership of South Modesto Business United about the trash and the blight and right behind that tree, and so I called the supervisor and we worked together to get that trash removed, and he responded and acted very swiftly, despite us both determining that it was neither the city's jurisdiction nor the county's jurisdiction. It was TID property, but we coordinated with TID and we acted swiftly to resolve that issue. That's about it, Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. For my report, I was able to participate in a very special Ruby Bridges walk to school day. This was at Aspire University Charter. It's early in the morning, and we walk to school to learn about Ruby Bridges and her courageous actions as a young girl and the challenges that she had, even just going to school in the South as a young black girl. She's my age and still living, and I remember those days, and so I always appreciate participating in that walk. I was honored to have 2 lateral police officers be sworn in my office. The police chief needed to do that. They happened to be coming to City Hall to meet with him so that it could accommodate his schedule that day, and it was pretty exciting. They're ready to go and looking forward to working in the city of Modesto. We, the county and within the city of Modesto hosted a housing day at the Community Foundation, and we were honored to have participating 2 representatives, the secretary from Housing from the state of California and also her deputy, and we started out at the James Street, which is a project that supports some severely mentally ill people that would otherwise be unhoused, and that was funded through Project Home Key. And then we also toured again Free Will Baptist Church, which is a pilot program on a church property on Orangeburg Avenue for single-family permanent supported housing for families. So it was really great to spend that time together. Our city manager was there, as well as several other local officials. Secretary Taniqua Moss is the State of California Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency Secretary, and Sasha Kurgan, her deputy, also participated. We had the Kettle Kickoff to support Salvation Army. It was, again, a huge success. And I was honored to attend with our police chief the Stanislaus County Interfaith Council gratitude event at the Hindu Temple on Coffee Road. It was another great night. That's my report. Any other council members that would like to give any reports at this time? All right. Does the city manager have any comments and reports? All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is hearings. Item 23, a hearing to consider accepting the Capital Facilities Fees Annual Report for fiscal year 2023-24 and making findings related to each of the fee categories. So we will have a staff report by Jessica Hill. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. And so tonight, this will be our annual capital facilities report in relation to our impact fees that we collect on all new development. So for a little bit of background, the Government Code 66,000 allows local jurisdictions to adopt an impact fee program to mitigate the impacts of new development. These impact fees that are collected can be used to purchase, construct, or expand, rehabilitate, or acquire public facilities, but however, they cannot be used for maintenance of existing or future facilities, and they're paid at the time of building permit issuance. So our specific program was established in 1987, and they're collected on all new construction and expansion projects citywide and within the sphere of influence. All the funds that are collected are segregated from the general fund into the specific areas and funds that they can be utilized for to finance the infrastructure needed to support this new development. So each year, the government code actually provides that a local agency make sure that we complete an annual report which outlines what funds were collected and how these funds were used. This report must be made within 180 days of the end of the fiscal year, and so that's why we're here tonight. So this is an outline of the different capital facility fee funds that we have. And so we have 7 different funds, and all the funds that are collected at building permit issuance are then separated to these funds to be used for future projects. Above is the fee schedule. So this is the fee schedule that was September 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. And you can see for a single family residential, the fee associated with that for our impact fee program is a little over $18,000. This next slide highlights the amount of fees that we received in total for the year, and that is a very small number. But as you can see for our impact fee program this last year, we received about $6.6 million in impact fee revenues, and it was broken down into those 7 different categories. Of the $6.6 million, we did have expenditures of about $2.7 million, which includes different capital improvement projects that we worked on throughout the year. Here outlines the different capital improvement expenditures and the different projects that are associated within these funds. Some of the highlights include our Claus Road plan use, Mary Grogan Park Phase 2, as well as our 7th Street Bridge. This one outlines the different transfers, and so there's different transfers that happen within the capital facility fee program in order to pay off previous debt or actually be transferred into a project. Next up is our accessory dwelling units. And so what we have to report on each year is any funds that we actually waived or did not collect. And so for fiscal year 23-24, we issued a total of 110 accessory dwelling permit units. There we go. But however, 10 ADU permits had CFF fees due and 100 were actually exempted. 1 permit was charged proportionally and 9 permits were charged a multifamily rate. And this is due to if the ADU is over a 1,200 square foot, we do charge a proportionate amount of fees. We had 1 exemption process, and so the City of Modesto does offer CFF exemptions for low-income projects, and the 1 exemption was for a partnership with Free Will Baptist Church at the project at 225 East Orangeburg, and so this resulted in 9 multifamily units. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, or I do have a recommended council action.
All right, any questions from council members of staff regarding this item? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 23? I will close public comments. Are there any comments from council members? Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Jessica, and your team for a well-done facility fees annual report. Very thorough. Thank you so much.
All right. I have a resolution accepting the capital facilities fees annual report for fiscal year 2023-24 and making findings related to each of the fee categories. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilmember Bavaro, seconded by Councilmember Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
And Mayor Swallen.
Aye, carries unanimously. Next is item 24. A hearing to consider accepting the fiscal year 2023-24 annual report of funds held for future improvements and making findings related to each security on file. And we will have a staff report.
Great. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So a little bit of background about this item is as development projects move forward within the City of Modesto, there are certain conditions that are put on development projects. And at times where conditions cannot be met because of infrastructure improvements cannot be done at that time, the city actually can collect funds to be held in trust for those improvements to be done at a later period of time. So the city currently has 3 different development projects and securities held by the city that are there available for a future infrastructure project to be done at a later period of time. So the 3 that were identified, the first one is at 1024 Florence Avenue. And that is in 2000, the city sewer service was not available for this parcel. However, we did require the individual to submit a deposit of $2,500 at that time. And since that time, interest has accrued for a total a total amount of security of $3,250.90. The next one, actually 3055 Floyd Avenue, was Shadow Creek Apartments, which were approved in 2004. And this was due to, there was an extension of Beta Street that was needed. And due to the neighboring parcel not developing at this time, funds were collected and of the amount of just under $30,000 and then held in trust until that neighboring parcel does develop. We can use that funding to then build out Beta Street. The last one is for 3019 Floyd Avenue, which is the shared reconstruction cost of a bus turnout and on or off street driveway access. This was approved in 2008, and at that time they deposited $27,165 and then accrued interest on that since that period of time. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, questions from council members regarding item 24? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public to come forward regarding this item? I will close public comments and ask for council comments if there are any. All right, I have a resolution accepting the fiscal year 2023-24 annual report of funds held for future improvements and making findings related to each security on file. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Williams.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
And Mayor Swallen.
Aye, carries unanimously. Next is item 5, a hearing to consider a historic property preservation agreement, Mills Act contract number 13, for the State Theater at 1307 J Street. We will have a staff report.
Great, thank you, Mayor and City Council. So a little bit of background of this project. Sorry, I missed a slide. Okay, so on May 9, 2024, the State Theater of Modesto submitted an application for a Mills Act contract for the State Theater located at 1307 J Street. And so this property is eligible to go into a Mills Act contract due to its considered a local historic landmark, and that was on January 10th, 1995. We've designated it as a landmark. What the Mills Act allows governments to do is to enter into historical property contracts with owners of the historical property who pledge to rehabilitate and maintain the property for the length of the contract. So if approved, the Mills Act contracts provide owners with a property tax relief for a period of 10 years for automatic yearly extensions. So the project's currently located at 1307 J Street. It's zoned transitional downtown, and then it's all surrounded by a restaurant, architecture firm, and bank. So California Government Code 50280 allows the city to offer these property tax reductions in return for the agreement to restore, maintain, and protect the historical character of the property. And what this section actually allows the assessor to do is, instead of basing the tax rate on the assessed value or similar sales, they allow it to be based on what could be an income approach of rent received of the historical property based on it being historic. So previously, the property itself had been assessed of a value of $1 million, doing the sales price approach. This action would allow the property to be assessed at what the income generation approach would be, which is realized at $473,324. So if approved, the Stanislaus County Assessor Office estimates that the tax savings for the State Theater would just be over $6,000 per year. We went ahead and did all of the CEQA review for this project and prepared the notice of exemption. And then on September 16, 2024, this item was heard by our Landmark Preservation Commission at a public hearing, and they recommended it to move forward to City Council. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. What was the vote for the Preservation Commission? Was
It was unanimous
Unanimous,
to bring it forward.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
And along those same lines, at that meeting, was there any public comment? And if so, can you share any insight?
I don't believe there was.
Okay.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes, Jessica, how many other buildings are been allocated with that funding?
So this would be our 13th Mills Act contract for the City of Modesto, so we have 12 other properties who already have a contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, any other questions from council members? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 25? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Zwal and City Council and City staff. Director Hill, thank you for that presentation. As chair of the City of Modesto Landmark Preservation Commission, I did want to just add a couple details to that presentation. Out of about 59 city landmarks, only 12 of those do have a Mills Act contract. So this by no means is an automatic extension of a landmark landmark owner's incentive automatically by being a city landmark. It does have to go through the commission review process and then city council as well. This would be the first Mills Act contract in several years, both recommended by the Landmark Preservation Commission and city council. The vote was unanimous. There was some community input during the public hearing. Several members of the board of directors for the State Theater of Modesto Inc. nonprofit were in attendance voicing support. There was one question from a member of the public regarding how the city plans to recoup the potential loss, quote unquote, loss of tax revenue, but city planning staff did very appropriately and adequately respond to that, given the fact that while it is owned by a nonprofit, a private entity, it's very much a community benefit and contributor to both the downtown quality of life and the community spirit of Modesto. So I humbly ask that as an extension of the Landmark Preservation Commission, that City Council supports this application tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public regarding item 25? All right, I will close public comments. Any comments from council members regarding this item? Councilmember Ricky.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to applaud the staff and the Landmark Preservation Committee Commission for bringing this to us. This is the kind of thing that can really help a local nonprofit, and especially an entity that's so important to our culture here in Modesto, like the State Theater. I'm really appreciative to you guys being proactive on this, and just it's going to make our community better. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank Harrison Powers for clarifying all of those other details about the other 59 and 13 being awarded that opportunity. And I also would like to thank Brian Collins, who is actually here on the board for the State Theater, for all of the work that he's done to beautify that place and light that place up. So thank you to the Landmark Board or Commission, as well as the board for the State Theater. Thank you so much for everything you do for this community.
Right. Any other comments from council members? I'll just make one comment. That's the theater I attended as a child, so to see it be preserved as a local historic landmark is an interesting situation. The years do go by very quickly, but it's truly a gem in our community, and I really enjoy the State Theater, so thanks everyone for your efforts. I have a resolution approving a historic property preservation agreement, Millsack contract number 13 for the State Theater at 1307 J Street. Owner, State Theater of Modesto Incorporated, Modesto Landmark Preservation Site number 22, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second, sorry.
Motion by Councilmember Ricky and a second by Vice Mayor Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
And Mayor Swillen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Thank you. Next is item, you know what? I think we're going to take a 5-minute break. Just 5-minute break, please. And we will return at 7:17.
200.
Yeah, that was a lot of what you're talking
All right, we will reconvene, and we are on to new business, item 26. Consider approving the submission of a grant application for the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, GoBiz, Cannabis Equity Grants Program for local jurisdictions for an amount up to $250,000 without a local match requirement. And we will have a staff report.
Thanks, Mayor and City Council. So the state of California created the Cannabis Equity Grant Program for local jurisdictions to help promote economic opportunity for individuals who are negatively impacted by the criminalization policies of cannabis. So on December 13, 2022, the City of Modesto adopted the Modesto Cannabis Equity Program that we locally known as Pledge. To fund this program, the city applied for grant funding from the state of California to help aid local equity participants. And on January 31st, 2023, we received $350,000. So following receipt of this money, we worked diligently to implement the City of Modesto's Pledge program. So applications were announced to submit to participate in the Pledge program, and we received 12 applications, with 5 of those being deemed eligible to participate. We're able to partner with Tulip and Oak for $35,000, who provided a 6-week technical assistance workshops, as well as one-on-one counseling to each of those 5 individuals. On October 22nd, 2024, the council approved grant agreements to provide funding for 4 commercial cannabis businesses owned by Pledge participants in the amounts not to exceed $70,000 per business, for a total amount of $280,000 of direct assistance. We also utilized the $35,000 that was set aside for administration costs that helped cover city staff costs as well as legal costs. So, of the $70,000 that was awarded to the Pledge participants, what was deducted was the annual application fee. And it wasn't the annual application, it was the application fee, which is $6,380. Additionally, we anticipated that there would be an annual permit fee that would be paid for through the grants, and the amount would be $4,307, which was established by the Finance Department. So once this funding is received, each individual actually signed a cannabis equity grant agreement, where they are required to submit a financial reporting of April of 2025, or 6 months after receiving the funding, to speak to the city of what they spent the money on and actually verifying all of those expenses as well. In addition to that, the city also can request at that time any additional financial information regarding the funding sources or additional funding leverage to assist the equity participants in opening their business. So the Pledge program participants have indicated that there is support and need for additional program funding to assist both current and future Pledge applicants. So most recently, GoBiz has opened the grant solicitation program for the next round of cannabis equity grants. The rules of this cannabis equity grant has changed a bit, and it's based on the number of qualified Pledge participants that you have in a jurisdiction. And if a jurisdiction has less than 6 Pledge participants, they are eligible for $250,000. And because we only have 5, we're eligible to receive a maximum amount of $250,000. So in previous years, the grants were allocated in a one lump sum, but the GoBiz has indicated that instead of one lump sum, it would be paid in 4 installments. And that's to ensure that as fundings go out, we would actually have to request reimbursement from the state. So the grant timeline's above, so the grant application became available in October, and it's due December 16th. We anticipate a grant award date by January 1st, I'm thinking all of January, and then a grant execution date of March 31st, 2025. The grant term, if we were awarded, would be from April 1st, 2025 to October 31st, 2026. And what we've seen each year is the notice of funding availability typically opens annually and in October of each year. So there are some future program considerations that if we were awarded, that we'd want to make sure that we, if we were applied and if we were awarded, what we'd want to consider as we brought forward the program. So grant awards would be significantly less than the awards of $70,000 the last time. And so if only 5 individuals applied, the awards would be $40,000 each. And what we've seen from our current pledge applicants and in their applications themselves is the business owners are stating that they would like the city to apply for future grant funding to assist with ongoing operations of their business year to year. What we'd have to make a decision on is if we'd want to open the pledge program up to just the existing participants to receive the money, or just the 5, or if we'd want to open this program up again to the entire community to see if we have more that qualify. We'd want to make sure to understand if we'd like to issue them in the form of grants or loans. And then wanted to understand that, you know, the city administration costs and the technical assistance costs would be less as well. So technical assistance or the workshops would be $25,000 in one-on-one counseling. And then the staff time associated with it would only be $25,000 or ongoing administration of it. Lastly is if we're awarded, we would want to make the decision prior to going through the process again, similar to what we did the last time, is decide if council would want to proceed with opening up our last 2 dispensary permits. And so that would be a question that we want to bring at a later point in time. And then if we were to want to open them, if we wanted to allocate any future permits to specifically equity-only participants. So this item was presented to the Cannabis Program and Permit Committee on November 19th, and the committee action was as follows. The motion was passed with 2 in favor with 1 opposing vote to provide a recommendation to staff to submit a grant application to GoBiz for an amount up to $250,000 without the local match requirement and forwarding to council for consideration. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, questions, Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Clarification, this is for grant money that is separate from the 2 remaining dispensary permits, 2 separate issues.
That is correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure that fully understand that. Number 2, is this grant an ongoing grant? In other words, you know, we apply January, but can you apply for the same grant several times during the course of the year?
So what we've seen is the application portal opens annually and usually in October. And what the state has previously required is you have to fully expend your prior grant before you're eligible for a new grant. But what we've seen is the grant is available every year in October.
Every year in October. And right now, we have 4 people that have received the grant money, correct?
So we have 5 people who qualified for 4 businesses. So yes, because 2 of the qualified people opened a business together.
So let's just stay on with the 4.
Yeah.
So in October, if say that this was approved, they can come back and ask for that additional grant money, correct?
We would go through an application process for them to ask, but we would also have to make the decision if we only wanted to limit it to those 4 businesses or open it up to additional pledge participants.
Okay, but let's say that hypothetically we keep it at 4.
Yep.
So my understanding is that this was to assist in startup because of maybe the inability to get investors or go to a traditional lending institute. This would be a startup fund for somebody to start their business, correct?
So the city doesn't present limits to that, but that was kind of the goal of the program, correct?
Okay, so in theory then, once they get started, they would then become established and create other stakeholders in the private sector and become entrepreneurs and then flourish in that business. That is the purpose of what this grant is for.
Correct.
It's not, is it designed for it to be ongoing where they keep coming back? Or is it just a setup and have them become entrepreneurs and deal with the private sector funding?
So ideally, the grant is to help those who are criminalized by cannabis to then start up their own businesses. The state does not disallow that the funding can be used to the same businesses over and over, but it is encouraged to the startup of new businesses.
Okay, and do we have any data? I think you said the data is going to be available in April. Any data showing the results of how the purpose of these funds were used?
Correct. So we do not have any data on how they've actually spent the funds, but the first time we'll receive that is in April of 2025.
Okay, and do we disperse the funds all at one time, or is it?
At this time, they've received the full $70,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Jessica, were there any other, I know you said you were looking at the matrix, whether or not the city would like to have the ones that were already granted and then, or open it up to others. Were there any others that were interested in actually applying outside of those that have already applied?
Yes, we did receive interest from others who even didn't submit applications, and we did receive partial applications for 12, and then only 5 submitted full applications.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My question is, we know that it's not decided if this is if this is approved and we go forward. It's not decided if it would be open up to new people, or we would decide that later, right? Whether it's open to new people or to the 4 that are currently involved. Is their workshop funding included in this grant, like we did with the first one?
So of the $250,000, $25,000 would be available for those workshops. Yes.
All right. And in addition to that, administrative funding?
There'll be $25,000 for administrative funding, and then the balance of the $200,000 could be grants or loans.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Thank you for the presentation, Jessica. So if this agenda item is approved tonight by council, the grant agreement will be executed by March 2025. Correct? That would be prior to we obtain any results or receive any data about the success of our grant, if our 4 existing grants and how their business is doing and so on and so forth, right?
That's correct.
Okay. If this agenda item is not approved and we do not move forward with receiving or applying for the $250,000 grant funding this year, we are able to apply again next year, correct? And that would be after having been fully informed of the progress and success of our grant investment in this first go around. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members regarding item 26? I'll now open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding this item?
Good evening. I would just like to thank the city and Jessica and Sean for continuing the effort of supporting ethnic minorities who have been adversely affected by the drugs that were once illegal that are now legalized. And I hope that we can all support and get behind this so that those young people who are now trying to become part of the entrepreneur of this company success will have our support in being able to get whatever support they can get from the City of Modesto. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Wendy Bird, President of the NAACP. And I too want to congratulate you all and thank you for all of the good work that you're doing. Thank Jessica and Sean and the Economic Development Department for working on this project. The NAACP is involved because we were the group that first brought this idea about this grant to the City of Modesto. And I think at this point, continuity is really important because you've already invested a lot in, and even if it's 4 people, even if it's just 2 or 1 person that ends up being a success story all the way through, then that's a great accomplishment. And so the way things are lining up time-wise, you may not get the results that you want to see before the decision to apply for this grant comes. But I really want to encourage you to still do that because this has been like a 3-year process. And these people have gone through all of the steps and done everything that we've asked them to do. They've shown their commitment, but they still need more help. And so instead of dropping the ones that have gone through the process already and sending them away on their own, I would suggest that we continue to invest in them because you've already done that anyway. You've also invested in an assessment that have told you exactly the populations that have been the most adversely impacted by the war on drugs. And so you've already invested so much time, resources, and things like that to get us to this point. It would be a shame, I think, to kind of switch horses now. And unfortunately, this is not a whole lot of money that we're talking about. So even if you were to open it up to new people, I mean, it wouldn't help them probably as much as it would help those that are really struggling that don't have any other alternatives. So I would urge you to support the funding of this, and then we can talk about the license as well of who that should go to. Thank you very much.
And you're welcome. Any other members of the public? Welcome.
Good evening, my name is Alf, and I just have a question, and that's always kind of drive me crazy with how government operate. We have $250,000 grant, $50,000 going for workshop, and for people who work for the city to handle it. We already pay for the people who work for the city. Now, how much money is going to cost to put a workshop together, let's say in this building? And this is what always drives me nuts when the city gets money from the state for the homeless, for all kind of programs, and the money is flying like from $50,000, 20 before you start with the grant, 20% already gone. And I just can't figure it. I mean, maybe I'm missing something. But then again, maybe you can let us know some things that I don't know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments?
Are we allowed to speak more than once?
No. Thank you. All right, any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding this item? I will close public comments and ask council for comments. Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be voting no on this item tonight, and I will explain why I'm voting no. The original setup money or startup money we had was $70,000 per person. That gave them the opportunity then to start their business, become entrepreneurs, to work within the private sector, and to attract stakeholders who would invest with them if possible. I don't want to see us using grant money as an ongoing funding source that should be from the private sector. And so I believe we did go ahead and give the startup money, yes. The results will be shown in April on the data that we can review. And at that time, if we have more than 5 people that are eligible or 12 people that apply for this type of funding, we can maybe review it then. But I come from the entrepreneur side where you know, you need to get the funding from the private sector, and if you have something that works well, you're going to attract stakeholders. So this is why I will be voting on this item tonight, voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from council members? Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. As just previously stated, Jessica has already alluded to the fact that we're still not sure whether or not we would allow the dollars to go to the current 4 that have filled out the applications. Seemingly, it would be wiser to go with not just the current 4, but open it up to others so that the money can be spread out a little bit more. I will be voting yes.
Right, Councilmember Ricky.
Yeah, I also support this. When you look at these struggling businesses, especially in the cannabis space, where there's so much competition and the existing businesses in the space have so much more capital, there's really no other way for small businesses like this to break into the space. When you're competing with growers that have, you know, reserves in the tens of millions, and we've got these little startups that, you know, have a fraction of that. It's just not really fair, I don't think, to compare the two. And that is the intention of the equity grant to begin with, is to help people that were criminalized in the space get the helping hand to allow them to succeed. And this is not a grant situation that is going to go away anytime soon. I believe that with the taxes and the fees that the state gets, that their intention is to help push and develop these businesses over the course of years. So I'll be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding the comment that was made during public comment period, and I did clarify with Jessica in my comments that $50,000, $25,000 would be spent to support staff. And as was mentioned, this has been at least 3 years thus far of staff effort to assist in this process. And then the previous group, as was mentioned in the item, it was $35,000 that went to our consultants, that they provide a direct technical assistance workshop providing general business as well as cannabis industry specific skills. So it's a very unique situation, and that's where that funding goes. But I've certainly heard the comments and agree with them from Councilmember Bavaro, from Councilmember Williams, Councilmember Ricky. I have definitely seen the effects of criminalization of now legal products. So I will be supporting this. I feel that it is funding that is available and it's for this purpose. And we have spent all these years to develop this. So I will support it. Any other comments from council members at this time? All right, I will offer a resolution approving the submission of a grant application for the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development GoBiz Cannabis Equity Grants Program for local jurisdictions for an amount up to $250,000 without a local match requirement, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to submit the application. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Ricky, and will the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Wright?
No.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton?
No.
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
No.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. So the motion fails. It was a 3-3 vote. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, Mayor.
All right.
So it is a tie vote. The municipal code, and this is what happened last time when we were dealing with the dispensaries and staff was looking for direction and we had a time limitation. The municipal code does have the item come back until the matter is resolved. At this point, we can bring back the matter at the next meeting, but the reality is we don't have a seventh council member that's going to be voting on this item at the next meeting. So we do need direction on how to move forward. A tie vote really provides no direction, so tells us not to move forward for the grants. So therefore, the interpretation is that this matter is resolved unless the council wants to hear it at the next meeting. Again, we don't have a seventh council member that's going to be voting on this, and staff does need direction because we do have a deadline in December, mid-December, to apply for this grant, and we do need to actually work on the grant as well.
So at this time, I'll ask direction from our city attorney. Should I ask for a vote on whether to bring it forward to the next council meeting?
I think that would be proper if there's a motion to bring the item, if there's a motion from your council to bring the item back at at our next meeting, which is the 10th. That's the last possible day. We do need time to prepare it. That's cutting it pretty close. But if the council would like, we could definitely bring it back. But we don't have a seventh council member that's going to be voting.
All right. Do I have a motion to bring this back to the next council meeting?
Motion.
I have a motion by Councilmember Williams.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wright?
No.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton?
No.
Councilmember Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
No.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. So again, it is tied 3-3.
Motion failed.
So in that case, again, we don't have a motion to bring it back. At this point, the matter is resolved since staff does need direction on how to move forward, and we don't have a seventh council member that's going to be voting at the next meeting.
All right. Thank you very much for that guidance. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I am calling this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.